There are certain rules to our conversations, and they are rules that most people don't even know about. For example, if you were to ask me how my day was yesterday, I would probably give you some of the highlights. I wouldn't take a deep breath and give you an hour-long exploration of all of the tiny details. Well, first I got out of bed, then I went to the toilet, and then I got myself a coffee with no milk, and then I sat down and had my breakfast, and so on. This is an example of what the philosopher Paul Grice calls a conversational maxim, and they are part of what he calls the cooperation principle. Grice identifies 4 conversational maxims. First, there is quality, where we assume that most people most of the time are telling the truth. We have to have an extraordinary reason to tell a lie. Second, there is quantity. For example, about my day, you give as much information as is required by the question. Third, relevance, where we only give information that's considered important. So for example, if I said, this is my friend Steve, and he's not murdered anybody for 5 years now. However true that might be, you would assume that my including it made it relevant in some way. And finally, there is manner, because how we say things matters. And this often means we have to read between the lines. So if you ask me how my holiday was, and I say, well, it was certainly memorable, you'll know exactly what I actually mean. So now you know the rules of conversation, you can use them as you see fit. You could invert or flaunt them to hilarious ends, or you could misdirect and deceive. Quite the weapon.